Hey everybody, welcome to the character modeling 1 for Hookbeard, the pirate champion that we'll be making for Chaos Cart. First, before I get started real quick, I'll be doing some Zbrush sculpting today. But I just wanted to talk about my thought process before I get started on a character. So first off is just the character setup. So during character setup, I focus on my modeling first. Then you go over to the UVing, texturing, and the materials. But you have to kind of think about the materials before you UV. So these are just the 4 different splits that I typically would do for character materials, which means they have their own unique UV spacings. So like the hair, the skin, the gear, and the eyes, and the gear can be clothes and props, and if I include the weapon, he'll have an anchor, then I'll do a 4th material for his anchor. That's not really part of him though. But yeah, so I kind of think about the Zbrush blockout is what we're going to be doing today. So we'll be working with just the head sculpt currently. I really have to define the head before I get started on the body. Everyone has their own way of doing it, but for me, I don't like to be in just have an ugly face while I'm blocking out the body for very long. I don't know. It's a big for me. So yeah, props and cleanup, retopology. We'll worry about that in the next couple videos, but for now, we'll do the head and then we'll get onto the body in a future video. Alright, let's get started. So first off, when I do a block out, I like to do the head or body also in Zbrush. Right there I'm opening up PureRef, and I've uploaded a bunch of images that I think the Hookbeard could look like, references of Overwatch. We got a few black athletes that I thought looked really kind of how I wanted Hookbeard to look. I want him to be a pirate character, so I was thinking maybe some dreads or just some cool hair and a bandana. Here I'm using the snake hook, similar to the move tool. I just use a circle and I'm kind of building out. Some people block out with just a bunch of shapes at first. I kind of like to just push and pull and kind of get these big shapes going and just see what I like the most. So I'm gonna have a bigger nose right there. I subdivided just to kind of get a little bit more geometry going. But yeah, so I'm kind of just building out these shapes and just seeing what feels right. What is anatomical, what kind of bones or muscles are in the face. There I just I brought in the IMM tool, which is kind of just adding an extra primitive geometry, and just pulled it in for the eyes, just to have eyes there. I should be pulling them in a little bit. I had this kind of wider look at first, and the more I looked at other characters or just people, it's just not how it looks. But yeah, so I created a little bit of mesh around the eyes with the clay build-up tool. Now I'm going in with just clay build-up to add in more facial structure. There, this damn standard to define the nose a bit. Let's pull that nose cavity a bit for the nostrils, so you can get that shaped for the mouth. Right there is kind of some Overwatch characters and some other Overwatch inspired characters. Kind of see how they do their stylization. So right there, I see I'm planing out, making it a little more flat with the trim dynamic tool. There, I'm kind of widening out. I go in and out of the different subdivisions depending on what I'm doing. He's going to be kind of a wider fellow, so I figured that having kind of a wide neck would make sense, and maybe squash him down a little bit. See there, I'm kind of using Roadhog as an example, and this is a stylized Roadhog even, so he's even more stylized than normal, where he's kind of squashed. Since our Chaos Cart style is a little more like a squashed Overwatch style. I'm saving out. Hookbeard, make sure you always save. I do believe it crashed at one point, and I'm glad I saved. There I'm kind of just carving out the mouth with the standard brush. This can be used whatever, and then I'm kind of softening it. I should be looking at other mouths here in a second. Make sure you're always using references. I didn't want to use that mouth from One Piece because it just seemed a little bit too stereotypical. So I went off a normal mouth at first. And then I went over to an Overwatch. No, this is a Fortnite character. And kind of just building it out like this. I can see the lip. The bottom lip is kind of like a very half circle space. And then the other one, top lip is a little bit more like planar. This all stems from reality, it's just stylized reality. So, however, with Chaos Card again, it's just a little more edges on, a lot more cartoony and than even there. So there I just masked out part of the eyes, and I'm masking the part of the bottom of the eyes to create the eyelids, just to make it a little more clean. And then I just extrude, or sorry, extract. To you to the right, and you can see the extract button, and then I can just extract at certain depth. They're looking at some Gragas because he was a little more squashed. You're just looking at different references. What like what do I want to see? What would look good? I like this image because it's very planar. You can see some definitely defined shapes, and I like that a lot for this character. So really, this is just you're getting your main block out, you're kind of just feeling it out. Yeah, kind of just seeing what feels right. So there, I'm just kind of building out the nose a little bit. Kind of have that furrow right in the middle. I like that kind of furrow. Yeah, there I used trim dynamic a little more to get that shape a little more flat. Yeah, you really are trying to make it a lot more planar looking, and it also works really well for retopology when things are a lot more planar. It makes it super easy and clean to make topology around planar shapes. If you have more roundy shapes, then you're looking at a lot more topology to find those edges. Use a snake hook tool. I really like the snake hook tool. It follows your widget a lot better than most. There I can bind the eyelids to the head, so they're now the same mesh. They were on different layers prior. I realized in the side views, make sure you're looking at all different views. The side views were not looking like wide enough. I'm kind of widening out the neck even more because I'm looking at different references that oh, this is, if I'm doing really stylized, then I need to make sure I push these shapes more. Not be so conservative. Okay, so there I'm masking out the side of the head to define the ear shapes. Okay, I'm pushing in the eyes a little more. They're just too wide apart, and I think that was kind of silly. So there I just kind of made the eyelids the same polyframe so I can move them together a little more, and realize, oh man, I need to make these eyes a little bit wider. They're just too small for this big head. We're going for that anime look that similar to this mage character that will be Revenera. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to get that the extra shapes, like what should it feel like? The brow and the kind of like the inner right above the eyes. Bring up that lips a little bit. Yeah, just a lot of tweaking for sure. At first I did look at the Fortnite ears. But even the Fortnite ears, I felt like were a little too defined for what we're looking for in Chaos Cart. So I really do take down a lot of the detail work on this to make it a little bit more clean, stylized, and a little more easy. There we go. So I go to this guy. I really like this 3D model, and I'm like, that looks a lot more of like what I'm trying to do with this kind of style. And there, he has very, very small eyes, but it's, so that it can be appropriate, but I don't know. It just depends on what you want. There, I see that this guy's neck is built out a bit more, so I'm like, what can I do, or what should I do for Hookbeard? So I kind of build out his traps a lot more to make him look a little bit more wide, and like that thick neck that is almost like goes straight into the back. Just kind of tapers out. I really want to get that Roadhog aesthetic kind of going on, that like kind of fatter belly, big hook type champion for Hookbeard. There, I was trying to make the mesh a little bit lighter. I felt like I was getting around like 1 million or something like that, whatever. So I wanted to reduce, but then I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Not a huge deal. There, I kind of just masked, and then I reverse masked. You can see the key bindings on the left corner, bottom left corner that I was doing. I was practicing with that, but I'm like, that's not working at all. So I just went ahead and not refined it so much to kind of get that basic ear shape, that like kind of C shape going on. Because you want to get a decent amount of the base of the ear, and then you can carve in and widen and all that stuff. So yeah, just a lot of tweaking right here. Kind of carving out, using the standard tool, carving out the back. I believe they make the ear a lot bit wider than that, or at least bigger in some parts. Pay attention to your anatomy though. Like this ear, even though it's stylized and everything, it's still like near the eyes and kind of like where it should be. So it kind of just feels right within itself, its own world. So there, I'm using the clay build-up tool to kind of build out the ears. I really like using the clay build-up tool, standard and damn standard. They're all kind of like one of my my top tools that I like to use. Okay, he's looking pretty decent as far as the blockout goes. So I'm kind of looking at those different, kind of just figuring out what I want to do. Like I think right here, I'm trying to figure out, a little bit more of the ear, kind of define the ear a tad bit more. And then I try to figure out more of like the hair and like what I want to do with the beard and stuff like that. I mean, he's hook beard, so he needs to have a hook beard. Okay, there I masked the inside of the ear. I'm kind of maybe just seeing if I can, what to do with the rest of this ear. I bring it in. I think I end up going back to that original. There we go. I ended up going back to him. I'm like, okay, so he has two like layers. You have like that inside C-shaped layer, and then you have like that pretty deeper inner canal layer of the ear. So these kind of ears are super easy to develop. And I was having an issue right here for a tad where it'll pull from the back of the mesh. So you just turn off the back face masking, and it won't pull from the back of the mesh because it's a thinner mesh. It'll start like morphing the backside when you don't want it to. But yeah, just turn off back face masking. Okay, you have a little bit of the ear lobe. You need to find a little bit of that little earlobe that kind of comes off into the main face. There I go. I'm masking out the main part of the inner ear, kind of fading it a little bit with the, I think it was like a control click, and then there I'm trying to get that like that deeper. Well, in a second I'll do that deeper part. There we go. That's that deeper C shape. Kind of define that. So yeah, it's super important to have these kind of references, like especially if you're style matching. Style matching is just so important to look at your references to style match. Defining those edges with a pinch. I use a pinch tool for that. Make sure you don't use too harsh of a pinch, though it'll start like creasing and it doesn't look good. So just a nice pinch for kind of like that polished edge. Now I'm using the detail brush to kind of get that like outer thing. You can also use like the standard brush if you have it small enough. Then I'm using pinch again to kind of get that nice planar edge. But I do kind of fade that out a little bit with smooth. Yeah, again, most people do block out their whole body, but I like to just get the face first and define that.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Baka Bros Entertainment for more updates on our game development videos. And just remember, keep on developing, bros.